as some of you regular viewers know, I've got several trail cameras throughout my woods here, throughout my forest, and it's not only used as a scouting tool, but it's more become a hobby of mine. The trail cameras and seeing what goes on when I'm not around. So I got a trail camera set up, and I hadn't checked it in a while. So the other day I went down and checked it, and I can't believe this happened, but a deer died within a short distance of the trail camera. And I don't have no idea how the deer died. And it's really not important to this story here. I'm guessing that it more than likely got hit by a vehicle, as there really isn't anybody that I'm aware of that hunts this property other than myself. But anyhow, the odds of this happening are probably are pretty small. But I've got my trail camera, and I've got a deer that's dead, and I actually had caught the last moment of the deer's life on the camera. And what I have found interesting is what has happened after that deer died. And the first on the scene, the first critter to show up was a red fox. And that was within about a half a day of when the last I saw the deer on the trail camera. And it fed on it, and it kept coming back several times to feed on the deer. Now, it's possible that it's more than one red fox. And then the next animal to show up was a coyote. In fact, it was a pair of coyotes, and they showed up about a day after that deer died, and they fed on it. And when they would visit the carcass, they would stay for extended periods of time and feed on it. The fox would come in, grab some of it, and then didn't mull around a lot. The fox made several trips to the carcass. The coyotes made about 8 trips at various times. Come in, and they would spend considerable time at the carcass. In fact, I've got some footage of them actually marking the area, urinating and then scratching up the dirt. So the other interesting thing was that the fox often would show up within just a few minutes of the coyotes leaving. So I don't know if the fox was watching or what, but it happened more than once that the coyotes would leave, and then the fox would come in and feed on the deer. I had a raccoon after that come by. Now the raccoon, I'm not sure if that raccoon was just passing by or was attracted to the site. It didn't really feed on the deer. It mulled around a little bit and then wandered off. The next critter to show up was a fisher. And the fisher came a couple of times, fed on the carcass. At the same time, or the same time period, the fox was still coming, and the coyotes were coming, but none of them were there at the same time. The next critter that found it were the crows. and the crows would come and feed on that deer carcass. I have a cat of some sorts, a feline. The footage is not real good. I don't think it's a bobcat. I just think it's a feral cat that happened to find the carcass. So I got red fox, coyotes, fisher, crows, some sort of feline, and they're consuming it. It's probably half gone, and it's only been less than a week. It's getting consumed and going back into nourishing other animals in the forest. I'm going to leave the cameras on the carcass and see how this progresses, and see what other animals show up, and just how long it takes before that whole animal is consumed and is back part of the forest. I suspect that the squirrels and such will feed on the bones and such, but they haven't yet. I have some squirrels that I've got in the video clips, but I think they're just passing through. So I wanted to share this with everybody. Found it very interesting, the progression of how this animal who died in the forest is being consumed and going back as part of the forest. So far, believe it or not, in approximately, a little less than a week's time, I have over 200 picture or video clips up from the trail camera. I put a second camera on that, so I can get it from a different angle. So I can get video clips from two different angles. So I found it very interesting.